Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about the news of Ilia Topuria vacating his UFC featherweight belt. And to be honest, it is a horrible mistake that Ilia just did. Volkanovski and Diego Lopez are going to be fighting for that vacant belt, but I personally feel like this is way too early for Ilia to move up a weight class. But before I get into it, if you guys can, please hit the subscribe button as the goal is to get to 10,000 subs. Anyways, let's get into the video. So Ilya, before moving up to lightweight, has had one title defense against Max Holloway, and he claimed the belt by knocking out Volkanovski. It was a really good start to the featherweight resume. You know, Volkanovski, arguably an all-time featherweight fighter, knocked him out in the second round, and then going against Max Holloway, who is arguably, number two in that division all time, or however you guys want to rank it. I personally have him number three. You know, he knocked him out as well. And Max Holloway has never gotten knocked out in his UFC career. And so I feel like Ilya could easily been the, all-time featherweight fighter if he would have just had more title defenses. And this goes on my next point. Why did Ilia Topuria make a giant mistake? It's because he's not even guaranteed to immediately fight Islam Makhachev. Ilia Topuria's options are between Arman Sharukian, Charles Oliveira, and Dustin Poirier. I'm going to talk about the most realistic option for Ilia Topuria. In my personal opinion, it is Charles Oliveira. I feel like Arman is too much of a risk for Ilya to take, just because if we want to go, if we want to say who's the closest all-around fighter, it is Arman behind Islam Makhachev in that weight class. And I feel like for a first fight going up in weight, it's kind of dangerous to do that. With Charles, he has a questionable chin, very slick on the feet, very slick on the ground as well for Ilya. And Charles obviously with his jiu-jitsu is amazing. I think he has the most submissions within that lightweight division. I could be wrong about that. So I mean, listen, Charles has, Charles's game at the end of the day. He's gone against some of the best fighters within this division, and you know, with Charles, having that questionable chin and Ilya being a sniper, he actually has a solid chance of, knocking out Charles Oliveira, in my personal opinion. And it kind of hurts to say because you know what? I'm a fan of Charles Oliveira. This guy's like a top five favorite fighter of mine ever. I have a lot of respect for Charles Oliveira. That guy has gone against dogs in his whole UFC career, but that's for a whole nother subject. Yeah, so I just feel like, realistically, the best option or best opportunity to get a win against those three fighters would be Charles. And even with that, Charles is still no joke. So for him to even go up and still not even get a guaranteed title shot off rip is why I'm saying this is a horrible mistake, because it's too soon. If he would have had wins over, let's say, Diego Lopez, let's say hypothetically Yair Rodriguez wins his next fight and he fights for the belt, or Masvar, right? If he had wins over those type of fighters, had maybe 5 to 6 title defenses, then goes up a weight class, totally makes sense. It is way too early for Ilya to move up weight class, for not even getting a guaranteed title shot. And this is also, in my opinion, bad on the UFC to kind of allow this per se. I know they don't have really control of what Ilya does, but personally, you should build these fighters up if you're the UFC, especially with the question of having lack of stars. And hypothetically, if Ilia Topuria loses against Charles Oliveira, right, his stock is going to go down tremendously because he's not a belt holder anymore. And he lost against a contender on a weight division above, where he talked about how he wants to fight the number one pound for pound fighter in Islam Makhachev. So this is a very, very risky move for both Ilia Topuria and the UFC. But you know what? Listen, this got me really intrigued. I'm really curious to see how this turns out. Within the next year for the UFC, make or break, a little bit of a make or break move within this company to see how they are within the next few years. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Whether if you guys support this move with Ilia Topuria, or you guys are agreeing with me, in which this is a horrible idea. But anyways, if you guys can, please hit the subscribe button and like this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.